DDJ here with a special announcement. Starting on Tuesday, November 24th at noon Central Time, Pro Wrestling Tees, the place where I get all of my awesome wrestling t-shirts, will be doing their annual Black Friday sale. And this time it is going to last one full week. And here are some of the deals that they've got going on starting on Tuesday, November 24th. Any first day orders will get one past wrestling collectible from the Pro Wrestling Crate. If you spend over $100, you get a free autographed 8x10. If you spend over $150, you get free domestic United States shipping. You get 40% off all barbershop window merch, 35% off all Pro Wrestling Tees logo merchandise. You get 30% off all New Japan merchandise, 25% off all AEW merchandise, and 20% off everything else in the store. Great deal, but wait, that's not all. On Tuesday, November 24th, Wednesday, November 25th, and Friday, November 27th, if you happen to be in the Chicagoland area and stop by the Pro Wrestling Tee store, everything that they have in store will be marked a whole 40% down. Again, 40% down. So guys, girls, all wrestling fans, it's a great time to get started on your early Christmas shopping and help support a great local business. Go see Ryan and the guys at Pro Wrestling Tees, and they will be sure to hook you up with some great deals.
This is P.L. Myers, a shot to the top, Pro Wrestling's manager extraordinaire.
This is Steve Michaels, the master of the Chicago Bear Hug.
This is Tim Storm, former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion.
What's up, guys? This is Mr. 3%, John Hudson.
This is Rockstar Johnny Nye, and you're listening to What Do You Say with DDJ. And for those of you who don't tune in, be gone.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 15 of What Do You Say with DDJ. As always, I am your host, DDJ. And on this episode, I talked to Two Count Lou Tufano. Most Chicago wrestling fans will recognize him as a referee. He's been doing this for about 25 years, and he's going to share some great stories. And it's just to kind of give you a little bit of it was a lot of fun talking with him, and I think you guys will enjoy this very candid conversation. So without further ado, grab your beer, grab your drink, grab your snack, grab your food, grab whatever, get comfy, and enjoy episode 15 of What Do You Say with DDJ, and my guest this week, Mr. Lou Tufano. Alrighty then, welcome to another episode of What Do You Say with DDJ, and with me this evening, I have the man who was given the name by a fan, Two Count Lou. This is legendary Chicagoland referee, Lou Tufano. Lou, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, Dennis. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for asking, and also thank you for taking the time to sit down and have a little chat with me.
No problem. Thanks for having me on your show and everything.
My pleasure. So let's get right into it. Tell my audience a little bit about yourself, where you're from, just kind of a little bit of a background, and then we'll get into the wrestling talk.
I grew up in the Chicagoland area, up around the O'Hare Airport area. Now for the last soon to be 21 years, I live down in the Bradley, Illinois area and everything, and have been doing professional wrestling for 25 years now.
Wow. So how did you discover professional wrestling?
Well, Dennis, as majority of us have, I grew up watching it as a kid, going back watching the old days of Dick the Bruiser, Moose Cholak, watching the old Texas area with the Von Erichs and Gentleman Chris Adams, King Kong Bundy, Iceman King Parson and everything, watching that on Saturday mornings, and then expanding once WWE, WWF started taking over and running, and would watch that on Saturday mornings. So that got me into it. Also, there was a local wrestling promotion school, Windy City Pro Wrestling, which isn't around anymore. But where I grew up, they had a school on Irving Park, and I can't exactly remember the other street, but I would run into legendary superstar Sonny Rogers almost every Saturday morning at a 7-Eleven gas station, getting his coffee. So I went and seen some Windy City shows, got hooked on the independent scene, and everything happened from there.
Awesome. So who are some of, like, when you first discovered pro wrestling on TV, were there any particular promotions that you watched?
Well, the one in Texas, what was that?
World Class Championship Wrestling?
Yeah, World Class Championship. I watched a lot of that growing up, and then WWE, AWA. So those were probably about the three, because they had almost everybody on those promotions, that are back in the early 80s. So, I mean, those were probably the three that I watched the most and got hooked on. Back in the day, I was a Hulkamania fan and everything. So, but now actually my favorite of all time is Stone Cold Steve Austin. So.
That's just not because you guys look similar, right?
Nope, not because look similar. Actually, back in the day, I did have hair a couple of times when I met him and everything. So,
yeah, he's in my top. He's in my top 5. So,
yeah.
So when did you like decide that wrestling was something that you wanted to go from watching on TV to actually being involved with?
Back in was about 80, 86, 87.
Okay.
When I was in high school, Sonny actually brought me over to the Windy City Training Center. I met the legendary godfather of the Midwest Illinois wrestling scene, Sam DeCero. Sam explained everything to me, but also mentioned about having an education, finish school. And so I went back, talked to my parents. At the time, they weren't all that keen on it. So for the next couple of years and everything, I finished high school, went on to do some college courses. Then in 1994, my dad passed away. So I told my mom, I said, this is something that I wanted to do. And Sonny had broken away from Windy City. I ran into him again. He told me he had a training center downtown by the Aragon Ballroom. I went down there with a blank check, checked out the school, signed my check, and signed my contract at the time to train right then and there on that day. And ever since then, in 94, it's taken off.
Awesome. Now, when you went to school, when you went to start training with Sonny, were you training to be a professional wrestler at the time?
I was, but unfortunately, back in 1992, I had a life-threatening accident that was holding me back on some parts of doing, actually complete the training and do full matches. So after about a year of doing the training, and talking with Sonny and some of the other people at the school, we thought the best interest would be to try to pursue of either doing a referee or being a ring announcer, playing the commissioner of the promotion and everything. So I was happy with it as long as I was still involved with professional wrestling and going to the shows, seeing the fans. So, I mean, I've been in a couple battle royals. I've gotten in some battle royals and everything. So, but other than that, that's about it. And I've been happy with the last 25 years.
Yeah. 25 years is a long time and stuff. And that's
It is. I've done a lot of matches, met a lot of superstars. So
who would you say out of all the superstars you met during your time in the business, who was your favorite?
well, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. You know, a lot of people
Wow.
say he's a jerk. Actually, when I've met him, very nice guy. China, the late China, was very cool. Vince McMahon is cool. Stephanie is cool. Shane is cool. I've met, the only one I have not met out of the McMahon family, I mean, I've seen her, but I've not actually met her, as Linda McMahon, but I heard that she is very, very cool. So, and then back in the day, I used to take my oldest daughter with me to a lot of shows, and she's met a lot of superstars. She doesn't follow it anymore, but back in the day, she's met Shane McMahon, Scotty 2 Hotty. Actually, Scotty 2 Hotty remembers her every time that we've ran into him. And I've told her to stop at a show that he's been on, that I've been on. And he always remembers the first time meeting her, because we had her out at the bar at 2:00 in the morning, and he told her that she needed to be at home sleeping and get ready for school. Yeah, he always remembers her when he sees her. So he's one of the cool guys. King Kong Bundy, a guy that I used to hate every Saturday morning, watching him. And we were running at the Hemmons Auditorium. It was PWI back in the day before it turned into PCW.
Right.
And Sonny said to me, he said, Lou, he says, I got a job for you. He says, we're bringing in King Kong Bundy, and I need you to go pick him up at the his hotel. And I said, are you serious? He says, yeah, you know, can you do it? And I said, Sonny, I says, I'll do it for you. So I would talk with King Kong Bundy over the next couple of weeks before bringing him in on the phone. He took a liking to my mom, because if he called the house and everything, she would answer the phone. So the day that I picked him up, Dennis, I kid you not, here I am at the hotel up by O'Hare. I go to the front desk. I call up to his room. He says, I'll be on my way down. That elevator door open, and here is this huge guy that I grew up watching on TV. And here I am picking him up at a hotel to take him out to the Hemmons Auditorium in Elgin, Illinois.
Yeah, that's gotta
So that was really cool. We even stopped at a store for him to pick up some Polaroid. And he was like, you know what, Lou? He's like, you don't have to come in with me. I'll be okay. Walking through the store. And I went in with him. And honestly, I don't know if it's people didn't remember who he was, but I don't know if seeing a big guy like that, nobody bothered him at all.
Wow. Kind of reminds me back in 2003 when PCW was running a Dream Night show and they brought in the Road Warriors and Jimmy Snuka. I actually got to drive Jimmy Snuka to that show. So I kind of had that
Okay.
same feeling of, like this guy I grew up watching, and like, I'm driving him to a show, and like I'll never forget him asking me to take him to a gas station so he could buy some cigarettes. So it's just kind of one of those things, and then also hanging out with the Road Warriors. It's always cool when like you meet your heroes and you realize that
Right.
you're human just like you and I are.
Oh yeah, and you say that with the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, two other great guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, rest in peace, both of them.
Yes.
Great, great guys. I met them on many occasions up at the Shaboom nightclub in Stone Park and everything. Thanks to Mr. Bill, who used to run that nightclub, and so those two guys there, awesome. And I'm looking right now at my desk and just looking. Tatanka, it was cool. Maria was cool. PCW brought in Maria.
Okay.
I've Billy Kidman. I've met Billy Kidman, real nice guy, all-time great guy too. Rest in peace. Also, Bobby Heenan.
Yes, I so wish I could meet him.
Yeah, I've met him at both times through PL Myers and PCW, and I have two different photos. Actually, one with me and him originally when PL's book came out.
Yep.
With the help of Bobby Heenan, and then PCW brought him back in, and then he had his cancer and everything, and some people still give me crap about taking a picture with him with the way he looked, but he was phenomenal. Just a great man, and was all for it with doing the side-by-side picture from the first time to this time. So great gentleman.
Yeah. Pete, you mentioned that, and it was kind of bringing back when I had PL on my very first episode, and we spent a lot of time talking about Heenan, and he told me he told me the backstory of Heenan writing the forward and his book, and it's just his dealings with him and stuff, and it's so nice to hear. Like I love hearing stories about Bobby Heenan.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. I mean, if I ever were to probably write a book, which I know will never happen, but from being a fan, there was a lot of stories from when I started training to watching WWF and everything, going to the shows, running into the guys, meeting them, hanging out with a lot of them at the bar. So it was a cool time. Met a lot of people, made a lot of friends. So
Yeah, and that's one of the things I've really liked about going to these shows, especially the independent shows over the years, is because the two words that you just mentioned that really start hit home really close to home to me are making friends, because through the times I've gone to the PCW shows and now going to the CCW and just kind of doing this podcast and just everything, it's just wrestling's always one of the things I always tell people about why I love professional wrestling so much, is because I've made so many friends from going to shows and meeting people and hanging out with them, like when we'd all go to the shows all the time and everything. And it's just, I think that's one of the best things about being a wrestling fan, is that there's so many other people out there, and it's so much easier to make friends when you both realize you're into the same thing.
yeah, and it is actually cool. And even when you're working with a lot of the great talent, and meeting people, and being invited over for birthdays or holidays, it's always a blast to be considered. Hey, if you're not doing anything, we're having a barbecue, why don't you come on over, if you're up for it. And so I've appreciate the friendships that I've made over the 25 years. And plus, you know, I get people at work, my full-time job, say, Lou, when are you going to stop? And I say, I'm going to stop when I walk down to that ring with a walker or in a wheelchair. And I said, I can't do it no more. For some reason, days of shows, that adrenaline, that the rush of the blood in my body and everything, it takes off, and I'm excited. I'm ready to perform, you know, so.
So, what being a referee, like, and without exposing too much of, because again, I'm a firm believer that, like, I like to know how the business works. I'm trying to get a better understanding myself, but I still kind of want to have a little bit where I don't know. But like, how important of a role does a referee play in a match?
Oh, a very important role. I mean, you know, it's a referee's very important job to make sure that there's a winner, there's a loser. I mean, and to make sure that everybody is safe, the fans, the wrestlers. So, I mean, the referee is right up there as being one of the top important people in a match.
So, is there anything else that you yourself or any referees have to do? And, you know, obviously besides, you know, declaring a winner, you know, counting the 1, 2, 3, calling for submission, or, you know, counting.
You know, there's a lot of us that do a lot of outside stuff, from helping set up the ring to setting up chairs. I know in WWE, Jack Doan, Chad Patton, two great friends of mine, a lot of behind the scenes, selling T-shirts, a lot of setups. So just don't think that a referee's in the ring. There's a lot of things that they do. Now, I can't say all of them,
right,
but I do know a lot of them do, you know, a lot of stuff outside of being in the ring, driving the ring truck to the next venue. So
and
yeah,
I think
there's a lot of different things that other referees, job titles that they have within companies.
and I really feel like that's one thing that I think, you know, there's this, you know, certain group of fans that don't really understand it. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I just asked that question, because I wanted, you know, I want my listeners to fully realize that you guys aren't just, you know, going out there going 1, 2, 3, ring the bell, and then that's it. Because like you mentioned, you know, you guys do a lot more than I think you're given credit for.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. And so we'll continue on. Like I said, I'm going to go back. So we did everything with Sonny. Then it took over from becoming, when they were still PWI, I got into, and people are going to be like, no, this isn't true. But there's people that do have legitimate heat with other people in promotions. Some things happen. I parted ways with Sonny and the company, but then got introduced to a gentleman by the name of John Spahn, who was working for the state of Illinois' Athletic Commission. Back in the day, the boxing and wrestling used to be regulated by the state of Illinois. So I got hooked up with John, started working some other promotions, the Lunatic Wrestling Federation, the LWF. Went to work for Windy City, did a lot of shows with them as their timekeeper. And then a couple times got to work with WWE, WCW, and ECW as a timekeeper. So for quite a few years, I had a nice little run. Even though it was through the Athletic Commission, it was still a nice run to work with these promotions and meet everybody and see all the behind the scenes. So
So, like, typically, like you mentioned, just being, having, runs as timekeeper in WWF and ECW and all that. What was a typical day like when you knew that you were going to say, go to do, help out at, at a WWF show or an ECW show? What was the day like for working with one of those promotions?
So what you would do is you were told what time you needed to report at the building. Once you got there, you checked in. I would help the paramedics because they would do blood pressures on the guys, make sure everybody was healthy at the time, help some of the other people out from the Illinois Wrestling Commission. And then if it was a televised show, they didn't use you. They had their own people, but still you had to do work for the athletic commission. So I would go sit by the cameras and all the behind the scene people out in the arenas and watch the matches, record times and everything for the matches. And then at the end of the night, you turned it back in. And then once the show was over with, on your way home, or you go and hang out with some of the superstars at a restaurant or the bar.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's pretty cool. So okay,
so
you mentioned, kind of talked about a little bit about your time, when you split off with Sonny, in PWI. How did you get involved with PCW?
So back when PCW was ready to start up in 2000, still with the athletic commission, Jimmy Blaze at the time contacted me and said, Lou, he said, we need somebody to be a referee. And are you interested? And I said, Jim, I haven't done refereeing in a couple of years. I says, but I'd be more than honored to. I said, I want to make sure that the heat that I had with some of the owners back from the PWI day was thrown underneath the rug. We squashed it and let it go. So we sat down before the first show, talked everything over. And ever since then, I started back with PCW in 2000.
Very cool. So it's nice that, you got to, mend those, relationships that were kind of strained at the time, and that. So now, were you with PCW there throughout the whole time they were in business?
Almost. I'm trying to remember. It had to be about 2009, 2010, maybe 11. There was another fallout. Miscommunication between me and somebody else. They took some stuff back the wrong way, and we parted ways again. But I had all the best interest for PCW and them going forward. Worked for some other promotions, MCW. Brian Zenner brought me on as doing his ring announcer. So was doing that and some other promotions and still helping out with the athletic commission at the time. So, and then after that, I was at a point where I was like, I'm done. I wanted to give it up. Stepped away for a couple of years, and then Jimmy Blaze started up CCW, which is now POW Entertainment.
Correct, right.
So Jim asked me if I would come aboard for a couple of shows and work, even though where I lived and for the shows was a far of a drive. There was some shows that I did, and I have so much love and respect uh, for Jimmy Blaze
He's
and
good.
everybody at POW Entertainment. I don't know if you've ever caught any of their shows, but I've been to a lot of shows where I've just showed up to be a fan and watch. And Jim has told his roster, "You see this guy here? He's not even on half our shows, and he advertises the flyers and promotes." And he goes, "That's what I love about Lou. Lou does not have to be on a show." And it's true. I don't have to be on a show. If you send me a flyer or tag me in something, I will make sure I share it up to the day the show happens and tell people to come on out and enjoy a good time.
And see, that's kind of one of the other reasons why, and I always like to bring this up when I'm, doing my shows and stuff. I like doing these podcasts because it gives a chance for people such as you and some of my past guests that, I've had on and stuff to kind of, give them a voice, because with everything going on right now, a lot of, the wrestlers that wrestle in Chicago area, well, and then basically for anywhere that's not, WWE, AEW, Impact, the major organizations, Ring of Honor, a lot of them don't have that luxury of, still being able to work, and that. So it's kind of like, I want to give you guys a chance to, have a voice, because I feel you guys deserve that, to have that just as much as, anybody else. And I mean, I think right now you guys need it more so because, right now, a lot of you guys can't work, or maybe work one show, every 4 or 5 months and stuff. So I just, I do what I can to help you guys out too, because I mean, us wrestling, the wrestling community, be it the fans, the wrestlers, anybody involved with the business in one way or another, I think we all need to band together more than ever right now.
Oh yeah, trust me, this COVID-19 has put a damper on a lot of things, and I wish there was more shows that I could go to, but it's hard. It's restricted a lot of promotions from running, and so
speaking of promotions that are still running or operating right now, we're going to go into talk a little bit about Chicagoland Championship Wrestling, of which you're part of. You refereed the main event of that show. Tell me, before we get into the actual show, how did you get into contact with John Bullard?
Actually, John got a hold of me thanks to P.L. Myers. And I have to give all kudos to PL. I guess him and John were talking, and John was saying that he was looking for some officials for the company, and PL mentioned my name. Mm-hmm. And so John contacted me. We talked via Messenger on Facebook, and John was like, I want to make you the senior official for Chicago Championship Wrestling, and I said I'd be honored to. A new company, we want to make it succeed. And after that last show that we had on October 3rd, I see nothing but good things coming in the future for us. And I can't actually wait till April 17th of 2021 to return to Michigan City, Indiana for that show.
Same here. I already got my ticket for the show. I actually bought it at the October 3rd show.
Okay.
And I do also, because you mentioned P.L. Myers, I want to give a shout out to P.L. Myers, because he really is a genuinely good guy. He and I have been friends now for almost 20 years, stemming back from the days of PCW when I used to regularly go to the shows. He and I have, always stayed in contact. It may have been a few years, but if we saw each other at a wrestling show, we pick up right after where we left off. And he also actually introduced me to John, who has really was on my show. And he's also, kind of let me, dive into his talent pool, and basically, whoever he has, working for him, he's like, if you want him on your show, he's always gone out of his way to thank me for everything I do for, him and his company. And it's just the way John treats people. And I'm sure you can attest to this as well too, is I think he treats everyone. He doesn't treat anyone any differently. I think he treats everyone the same. I mean, when I met him person before the show on October 3rd, he shook my hand, he said, thanked me for coming. He thanked me for everything I did for him, and to help kind of, promote his shows and stuff like that. And I'm sure, you probably, much like me, probably have, you got nothing but good to say about John.
Oh, nothing but, and too, is John messaged me. This was after our original debut was supposed to happen, when COVID restricted from shows being ran, and it looked like everything was opening up for October 3rd. John said, I want to go old school. How are you with that? And I said, I'm okay with it. So he says, blue shirt and bow tie. And I said, yeah. I said, I'm okay with that.
He totally rocks that look. Totally.
Yeah. Thank you. It's something different from wearing. I know a lot of the pictures that I have for Chicago Championship Wrestling have me in the zebra shirt and everything. But at first I was like, yeah, I don't know if I can pull this off with the blue shirt and the bow tie. But after seeing pictures, I really dig it, and I can't wait till the 17th and everything.
Definitely. So again, you as a reference a little earlier in the show, you refereed the main event between Shogun Chris Logan, Garrison Creed, and Marche Rocket. What did it feel like to be the referee in the main event of the very first CCW show, especially considering that you would be raising the hand of, the winner and the inaugural CCW champion? What did that mean to you?
That was an honor and a privilege. And working with Marche, I've worked many and many matches with Marche over my 25 years. One of the top guys. Nothing but respect for Creed and Shogun. Two great gentlemen also. It was nervous that day. When I heard the announcement that I was going to be the official for that, I'm like, gosh, look at me, and then look at those three big guys. I mean, being in a ring with three of the top superstars around the Midwest or around the world, I mean, I was nervous. I admit I had butterflies all day. I mean, just seeing those guys, and I even had people at work say, Lou, you're going to get in the ring with those three guys? Mm-hmm. Are you crazy? I said, no. I said, I'll have fun.
Well, if it means anything to you, when you came out and it was match time, you didn't look like a guy who was nervous all day. I mean, you were.
No, yeah. You know something, Dennis, I've learned over the years, and it's hard to do it because I get people that try to make me laugh. Mm. I go out there and focus to myself that it's an empty arena, an empty venue, and that there's nobody there, and try to block out everything, because I know that I have a job to do and I need to concentrate on everything. And so it's hard. And back in the day from PCW, at one time I was the only official and did 8 matches every other weekend for them. And I mean, trying to remember match by match, it was hard, let alone just trying to remember 2 for the night. So and 2 big, semi-main and main.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of a toll does it take on a referee, like when you have to work multiple matches in a night. Like obviously, it's obviously if you work one match versus say 8 matches, you're not gonna feel as bad, after just that one match versus working, 8 straight matches. But what kind of toll does working, multiple matches in one night like really take on a referee?
Oh, I mean, it takes a toll. You have to, I mean, somebody can't go in there and think, okay, this is a walk in the park. Somebody off the street. I've known a couple promotions that have taken somebody and just threw a person in there to be a referee that's never had training. I mean, granted, I went to training to be a professional wrestler, but I also continue training to be an official and learn the ropes and learn how to do things and take bumps. So when you're doing more than one match, it does take a toll. I do work out. I don't, now per COVID, it's hard to get to the gym and everything, but I'm usually in the gym 4 to 5 days a week. Even on days of shows, I'm working out, cardio. So you got to make sure you're capable of keeping up, because you see, there's a lot of superstars that are quick and fast. And if you're up, down doing pins and trying to move around that ring, it takes a lot on you.
I could imagine. So last question I have for you here is there one match that you were involved in as a referee that really stands out to you more than anything else? I guess the easier way of asking this is, what's your favorite match that you've ever refereed?
I'll tell you this. I refereed the match with Hawk and Animal the last time that they were in PCW, before Hawk passed away.
Yep.
That was an honor and a privilege. I can't remember what Dream Night it was, but Jimmy Blaze. This one is always going to stick out in my head. I've had so many matches. I mean, I even remember timekeeping for ECW, and Tommy Dreamer was the booker at the time. Mm-hmm. Tommy said, I'm going to let you go out there for the second half of the TV taping and do the timekeeping. Chilly Willie called me up to the ring to grab his gear, and I slipped. Uh-oh. And the fans in Peoria started to chant, "You effed up, you effed up." And I mean, that sticks in my mind as a timekeeper, as a referee. Jimmy Blaze for Sacrifice, PCW Dream Night. I don't remember what number that was, but Jimmy Blaze started bleeding in the middle of the ring, busted his forehead open, and I was right there. I kept telling him, "Jimmy, do you want me to call the match? Do you want me to call the match?" I'll tell one of the photographers, "Call the paramedics." He told me, "Lou, do not stop this match. Let me finish." Wow. And I mean, here he is pouring out blood, hardcore match. There's a keyboard, thumbtacks. That is one of the matches I will probably never forget in my entire career. I've done so many of them, but that's probably one of the ones that sticks out the most. And maybe, you know what, Chaz Moretti. I don't know if you've ever met Chaz Moretti.
I have not.
Great guy. He threw out a bounty on me out in Global Professional Wrestling, and so he was actually a fan that paid for a bounty on me, and Chaz brought out his guy, Mr. 747, and he splashed me in the ring, and there's a video of it on Facebook. Fans just need to search it if they haven't seen it, and he actually bruised 4 of my ribs, during that match. So that's probably one of the ones I'll remember also, is having a bounty on my head for supposedly making a wrong call in the match and everything.
Wow. Well,
But, too, Dennis, I have to, real quick, I want to give a shout out before we leave. I just want to thank everybody, if they watch this video, that I've encountered with over the 25 years. Thank you, everybody, for your friendship, for your support. Being inducted into the 2005 PCW Hall of Fame, and then not this year, but the previous year in 2019, being inducted into the Midwest Wrestling Reunion as referee of the year. I appreciate that. There's only one more that I want to accomplish. I know some people ask that they see me, they want me in the POW Hall of Fame, but that's not up to me. That's up to the powers that be at POW. But other than that, I've enjoyed everything that I've done over the 25 years, and continuing now with my new home of Chicagoland Championship Wrestling and John.
awesome. Well, anybody that's associated with POW, if you're listening, let's put this man in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, there's a lot of fans that keep trying, and I tell them it's not up to me. I wish I could, but that's not up to me.
So before we go, how can people reach you on social media?
If you look on Facebook, just type in Louis Tufano. Usually my profile picture is of Shrek. That's a nickname that I've taken over from some close friends of mine over the years. Usually I have Shrek as my profile picture. If not, you'll usually see the flyers for Chicagoland Championship Wrestling. On Instagram, you can follow me at Lubowski72. I'm on Lubowski there. Twitter is also, I think, Lubowski, but I don't really get on Twitter that much. I was, and then just slacked off. And if some fans are on TikTok, if you just type in Louis Anthony Tufano, I occasionally, once in a while, do a TikTok here and there. And I actually wanted to do one at the show for Chicagoland Championship Wrestling, but just with time and everything, I didn't get a chance to do one.
Well, John Bullard, if you're listening to this, give this man a couple minutes so he can do a TikTok at the April 17th show.
Hey, I'm going to try for April 17th to do what I want to do on TikTok and everything. And if I can get John and some of the other superstars aboard for this, I think it'd actually be a pretty good TikTok and everything.
Again, John, if you're listening, let this man do his TikTok. So, all right. Well, Lou, thank you so much for your time tonight. It was a lot of fun. And best of luck to you. And me personally, I will see you on the 17th myself.
Thanks, Dennis, for having me on. It was a pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you on the 17th in Michigan City.
I'll be there. Thanks, Lou, for taking some time to chat with me. We had a lot of fun, and I hope all of you listeners enjoyed it just as much. Once again, Lou can be reached on various social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even TikTok. And John Bullard, I'm telling you, you need to let this TikTok thing happen. I'm not a TikTok person, but I just want to see this happen. So, John, if you're listening to this, if not, I'll barrage you on Facebook Messenger. Make it happen on the 17th. Speaking of the 17th, tickets are still available for CCW's next show, which is on Saturday, April 17th, 2021. The information will be coming across the screen if you're watching this on YouTube. And if not, and you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. The information will be up in the episode description once this episode drops. That's all I got for this evening. Thanks again to Lou for spending some time with me. It was a lot of fun, and we'll see you in about a week with another episode of What Do You Say with DDJ. Thanks.